Ever wonder how the government's debt affects you and the economy? It's a question that keeps economists up at night. Let's unravel this conundrum together, starting with the basics. Government debt, often referred to as public debt, is the money a country's government owes to its creditors. Think of it as a massive credit card bill, only instead of buying electronics or groceries, the government spends on things like infrastructure, healthcare, and defense. But where does this debt come from? Good question. It's a result of policies that increase spending or decrease revenue. For instance, these could be fiscal policies that aim to stimulate the economy, budget deficits where the government spends more than it earns, or economic downturns that decrease revenue and increase spending on social services. So, we now understand what government debt is and some of its causes. But what does it mean for our economy? The implications of government debt are far-reaching and can have a domino effect on the economy. Let's start with interest payments. When a government borrows money, it has to pay interest on that debt. This is similar to the interest you would pay on a loan or credit card. The more a country borrows, the more it has to pay in interest, which can take a significant chunk out of the nation's budget. This can lead to fewer resources available for public services like education, healthcare, and infrastructure. Then, there's the crowding out effect. When governments borrow heavily, they often do so from the same pool of funds that private businesses would use for loans. This can lead to higher interest rates, making it harder for businesses to borrow and invest. This could stifle economic growth, as businesses are a key driver of job creation and innovation. Now, let's touch on inflationary pressures. To manage high levels of debt, governments might be tempted to print more money. While this can provide temporary relief, it can lead to inflation in the long run. Prices go up, the value of money goes down, and the cost of living rises, impacting everyone, particularly those on fixed incomes or in lower income brackets. And what about future generations? Well, they could be left to pick up the tab. The debt doesn't disappear when a government leaves office. Instead, it rolls over year after year, potentially leading to higher taxes and fewer public services for future generations. Finally, high levels of debt can lead to financial instability and economic crises. When investors lose confidence in a country's ability to repay its debt, they may start demanding higher interest rates or stop lending altogether. This can trigger a debt crisis, with severe consequences for the economy and everyday citizens. While the implications can seem daunting, remember, there are strategies to manage government debt. Just as a captain navigates a ship through a storm, governments have strategies to manage their debts. Now, you might be wondering, how do they do that? It's not just about cutting spending or raising taxes. It's about a delicate balancing act that includes restructuring, fiscal reforms, and debt sustainability analysis. Debt restructuring, for instance, could involve altering the terms of existing loans to make repayment more manageable. Fiscal reforms, on the other hand, may involve changes to taxation or spending policies to ensure long-term fiscal health. Debt sustainability analysis is another crucial tool, helping governments assess their ability to service their debts without compromising economic growth. But this isn't a solo act. Central banks also play a critical role in managing government debt. They can influence interest rates to make borrowing more or less attractive, and they can buy or sell government bonds to help maintain economic stability. Debt management is a complex process, but with proper strategies, a country can navigate through the storm of debt. Government debt isn't confined to one country, it's a global issue. Let's take a whirlwind tour around the world to see how different nations grapple with it. In the far north, Norway has managed to keep its debt levels relatively low, thanks to its prudent use of oil revenue. Down in the southern hemisphere, Australia has also done well, implementing effective fiscal policies and maintaining a growing economy. On the flip side, we have cautionary tales like Greece and Venezuela. Greece's debt crisis, fueled by excessive public spending and economic downturns, led to a severe austerity program. Venezuela's over-reliance on oil revenue and poor fiscal policies resulted in skyrocketing inflation and economic instability. Japan, on the other hand, holds the record for the highest government debt to GDP ratio. Yet it's still standing, a testament to the complexity of the debt issue. And there you have it. A snapshot of government debt, its causes, implications, and how it's managed. Remember, understanding debt is the first step to tackling it.